Guess what? We got another massive leak about Cyberpunk 2077's free DLC and expansions that are coming up here. It looks like we're going to be getting two big expansions and also free DLC relating to more weapons, clothing options, and much more. We're going to go over the specifics of this in just a moment. It comes from a very legit leaker, and he explains how he found this information. Plus, we're going to be talking about how Cyberpunk has such a huge active community right now. So it begs the question, why in the world isn't CD Projekt Red doing anything meaningful to engage with the community? So we're going to talk about that and a bunch of other Cyberpunk news, so let's dive in. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here, hope you're doing good, and let's do this. Let's talk about more Cyberpunk and this free DLC and expansion pack leak right now. This comes from Saint Pirate, and here it is. It says right here, in April, in search of the cut content, I went into the text files of the game and found references to Episode 1. I think this means expansion pack 1 actually. And it says, with new quests from Mr. Hands, Fixer from Pacifica, forgetting about it for a long time, and after digging into leaked source code, I found a list of DLC and two expansions with the name Expansion Pack 1 and Expansion Pack 2. A day later, I remembered my April find and realized that Expansion Pack 1 is most likely gonna be expansion. Expansion Pack 1 expands Pacifica and adds a combat zone with new quests and locations, as well as the new long history. Now about Expansion Pack 2, they don't know. I can also say that Cobb 01, AR 06, AR 12, Japan 09 are going to be new gigs, and I think those are going to be part of the free DLC. We'll get into those in just a moment. Now it says Expansion Pack 1 and Expansion Pack 2 are going to be long paid expansions. All the other DLCs are going to be free. So let's get into this right now. It says the list of names of free DLC. And of course he explains how he got this information, by the way. Now it says number 1, we have DLC 1 SWP, and you're probably wondering what in the world does that mean. Thankfully, we got some interesting replies from the community. If we scroll down real quick, that likely means weapon pack, and it's going to be labeled smart, power, and thermal or tech, and then we have blunt weapons as well. So whenever you see WP in this list, it probably means some sort of weapon pack that's going to be added for free. So let's dive into these real quick. So of course we have a weapon pack right here. Then we have DLC 2, J poses, and then DLC 3, Cobb 01, DLC 4 quartz, DLC 5 jackets. So we are getting into some clothing items right here as well. This one's interesting. DLC 6 apartments, I would assume that's what that means, which would be really, really cool to see this a part of the free DLC. I was always worried that anything related to apartment additions would be thrown into the paid expansion, and it would be very wise if CD Projekt Red actually released that stuff for free. Now, would that mean we would get multiple apartments? Maybe not. It might more than likely mean that you can actually upgrade your current existing apartment. We'll have to find out. But anyway, let's keep going now. We have this one right here, another weapon pack. This is going to be your power weapon pack, of course. And then we have a mirror. I don't know what this could be about. That's interesting. ARR 06. We have a monster edition. That's interesting to me. Then we have a DLC 11J look and something called M Finish. And then another weapon pack likely related to tech weapons. Then ARR 12. And don't forget about this one. This is interesting. New Game Plus is apparently going to be coming to Cyberpunk 2077. Already should have been in the game in my opinion, but it would be nice to see now. Also we have Japan 06. This is going to be apparently a gig that you can go on as a free quest. And then we have blunt weapon pack as well. So it seems like there might be something related to perhaps melee weapons thrown into the mix as well with this free DLC. Now let's talk about the big paid expansions that are going to be like The Witcher 3, what it received with the Blood and Wine expansion, that sort of thing. But let's dive into it. It says Expansion Pass 1 and Expansion Pass 2, or Pack 2. And it's going to be like The Witcher 3 expansion. It says also text about new quests from Mr. Hands get added after patch 1.2 before he was not in the game. That means one thing, they work on the expansion pack 1 right now, and we can get an early 2022 because some one part of the team has already started development of this expansion. That's a good point. So it is likely that we would be getting, hopefully, the first big expansion for Cyberpunk in early 2022. As long as they don't get hacked again or something happens that puts a wrinkle in their plans. You guys know how this story has been unfolding. It's been absolutely crazy with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk. But anyway, let's keep going. Now, it goes on to say this: how to check info about expansion pack 1 and proof of this list. Just download Cyberpunk 2077 tools and in console unbundle, put the path, you know, and then he explains exactly how he got all of this information. So if you want to imitate it and you want to go digging for yourself, you can do that. And he says you get text about some street stories from Mr. Hands, like media in combat zone. CZ means, of course, combat zone. So again, it's likely we're going to be getting a big expansion in Pacifica, which a lot of you guys felt like was a very underwhelming area. And perhaps we're going to be getting a brand new combat zone on top of this, or the combat zone will be fully fleshed out and fully realized like it was intended to be originally. Now, also they go on to say the following. It says, also you can just type DLC stats what cab 01 content info text and get funny info about the new gigs from free DLC in their names. There's no spoilers about plot of gigs, only some funny text. The free DLCs were originally planned for early 2021, but due to the hacker attack and the concentration on the patches to get this game back to the PS Store, they were delayed so they could release even more content or expanded for the already planned free DLCs. We can get more content if they really work well all this half of year. Have a nice day, guys. I don't know if this is like the first, English is the first language for this guy, but anyway, I try to paraphrase there a little bit. But yeah, you know, he did provide great proof, and special thanks to, of course, Saint Pirate for diving into this in great detail for us. And then also we have another known leaker or data miner known as Prickly Assassin. He is back with new information as well. It says upcoming DLCs, QA builds, and more. So let's dive into this one as well. It says preface, this information may change before official release. For mods, this information was found on the development end of Epic Games Store. The publication of this information does not violate Epic Games' terms of service, code of conduct, or privacy policy. Okay, yeah, all right. We already know about that. Now it says DLC relisted and in QA testing. It says all 9 free DLCs and 3 paid expansions. So this guy's saying that there's going to be 3 paid expansions now, have been relisted on Epic Games Store. This time the DLCs are codenamed, and some of them are currently in QA testing. The paid expansions have had their prices reset to 001 and will likely have their prices changed, hopefully cheaper. Source images below, and we can see the sources right here about the free DLC and paid expansions. But this is interesting because it kind of is saying that perhaps they might be going all in with the expansions with this game. They're going to try to get the free DLC and drip free feed, content to us, you know, in the later half of 2021, up until we start getting the more serious big expansion DLCs. And on top of that, I would imagine with the free DLCs and content, they would be releasing some patches and fixes alongside the game, which, by the way, has been confirmed that is actually coming up here by Paolo Sasco, who is going to be the lead quest designer of Cyberpunk. He does some live streams, does some great stuff. So he has confirmed again that we are getting updates, patches, free DLC, all sorts of stuff coming up here for this game. But let's keep going and see what Prickly Assassin has to say here. It says new update coming soon. There's a new update currently in QA testing. This update should release in the next few weeks. I speculate that this update is version 1.3, considering how big it is on PC, 38.2 gigabyte download size. This update will likely include a DLC management system that might give off more clues about upcoming content. Ooh, so we'll have to wait and see when this update releases. I am sure that these guys will be data mining that update as well, and I will have you guys in the know about what goes on there. Now also we have DLC content. It says the next update and some of the DLCs are currently in QA testing, which means the content has been uploaded to Epic, Steam, and GOG servers. I'm trying to download the content of the DLC packages, and if I am successful, then I will upload it for public use. This might not seem like much, but it could signal a great future for Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red. If you use any of this information, please credit credit me. You have been credited, good sir. So yeah, special thanks to the 2 data miners here. Excellent work by both of them, really diving into the nitty-gritty details of these, files and getting us this information. I'm kind of excited, very guarded, of course, about the future of Cyberpunk 2077, but man, it would be so cool to see this one do a full-blown turnaround, much like No Man's Sky did. But let's talk about also how big this community actually is and how active the community is. This is interesting. It says Cyberpunk 2077 has a large and active fan base it doesn't seem to want, and that is how it feels half the time, because if you go to the Cyberpunk subreddit, it is absolutely massive. I'm talking about nearly 1 million people on that subreddit in such a short time frame, by the way. Of course, that built up with hype over years, but still the game is such a new game compared to big franchises out there. It's impressive to see so many users on the subreddit, but most notably is how many active users there are in the community. Perhaps they're coming to the subreddit because of the recent trolling from the community. You guys may remember the Cyberpunk by the numbers campaign that CD Projekt Red was running. Well, the community ran their own version of that as well. As you can see right here, it says Cyberpunk by the numbers. Thank you all. It was so much fun, and what a campaign it was. We are waiting for you, CD Projekt Red, your move. So yes, a lot of people right now are just anticipating, waiting what CD Projekt Red is going to tell us next, and it would be nice to see them up the communication, of course, given that they have such an active, like crazy active community around the web right now. Does it mean that a lot of people are still playing the game? There is a good fraction, it seems, that are still interested in playing this game, or at least wait it out and return to Night City to see what has been updated. Let me know if that's what you guys are going to do. Now, of course, interestingly, with the recent updates, Cyberpunk was put back on the PlayStation Store, and despite Sony's warning, Cyberpunk is still massively popular on the PlayStation 4, which again is showing just how much of the gaming community is interested in seeing what happens with, Cyberpunk, to see if this game can turn into something absolutely special. And it's still doing very well on the PlayStation Store, at least in terms of people that are willing to give it another go and check it out. Now, there's no information about retention. That's the big thing. How many people are willing to re-download the game, but how long are they staying in the game? Are they immediately leaving the game, or are they willing to stay put and check it out, for the future? Now, also, let's go over your top comments. Let's do this. This is my most recent video right here. It is called Cyberpunk 2077. Yikes, this just backfired big time for CD Projekt Red. New updates, and of course, this is about the By the Numbers campaign. Many of you may have already watched this video, but it goes on to showcase how you guys, the community, really fought back against CD Projekt Red and their social media channels about sharing stats. There were a bunch of stats recently officially revealed about the game, but you guys instead wanted to share your own stats, like this one: 0 kills from wall crawling with the Mantis blades. So again, that was like a cut feature. You guys are poking fun at that as well, and honestly, I don't blame it. And then there's this one right here, which again I did state was one of my biggest complaints with the game. It says 100% of players completed their life paths under 30 minutes. Unbelievable. That was supposed to be a fully fleshed out feature of the game. But let's go in to see what you guys had to say about this one right now. So we have Confusion Z, who says 100% of Cyberpunk players have played the beta version. That's pretty much what we got. Some of you call it the alpha version, actually. So but now I feel like we're past the alpha state, at least for this game, with the recent patches and updates. I think a lot of us would agree with that one. We just need to get our content added back in, right? Now, Hold My Chicken says the following. He says, I miss the old days when you brought a game or bought a game. It was complete and not just a foundation the gaming devs actually cared about, or enjoyment and experience with the game. Remember the community playdates when you got a chance to actually play with the devs and they wanted feedback. They don't do that anymore because they don't care. They just care about the money. Greed will take the fun out of anything. And again, it's interesting because it seems like there's two sides to the story, even with CD Projekt Red. Of course, you have the board and then you have the developers, and I feel like the developers are somewhat caught in the crossfire with all this. You do have Powell Sasko, one of the developers, who is actually engaging with the community every week in his stream. So I have to actually shout out him for making that attempt. Now, Lawrence says this right here. He says, I don't want a roadmap myself. It inevitably becomes a map of lies. Yeah, that's a concern. But I have to say that is extremely dramatic, that statement right there. And I love it. Wolfgar says this, 0% of all players have interacted with the destructible environments in Cyberpunk 2077. Roger Furlong says the life paths were pointless and some of these meme posts are gold. I agree. It's been super entertaining. What can I say? Asselin says 0% of Cyberpunk players have made clothing look like another piece of clothing, so there's no customization, of course. Lit says the Cyberpunk in Numbers campaign must be the most out of touch with their audience campaign I have ever seen. People waiting for you to improve the game, as in missing content, AI improvement, free DLC, but y'all start bragging about a bunch of meaningless stats like y'all just want to be a walking meme at this point. They were asking for it. Stoned Homer says, I never uninstalled it, just stopped playing it. This indicates that a lot of you guys are waiting it out. You're waiting to see what happens next. All right, there you guys have it. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Cyberpunk 2077 official news updates. I have the leaks and rumors, all that stuff. I really do like to provide the official updates as well on top of the leaks and rumors. So we'll see what happens with that. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.